Stoyanovich is? Oh, a lot of people do, a lot of people don't. Pete is the owner of Kickers. Those of you that do know him, if you look at the back wall over there, you notice a bunch of football jerseys. Pete's best known because he was an NFL kicker for 12 years. And he played for the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs. A little round of applause, well done. But what you may not know about Pete is that his first passion is actually soccer. And he was a tremendous soccer player. Played in college at Indiana University. So we're going to talk a little bit about his experience there. Was a dual sport athlete, both in football and soccer. So Pete did want to get a chance to say a couple of words. And Pete, are you around?
Yeah.
There he is right here. And before he gets up on the stage, just want to let you know we're trying to do more of these things in the community and get involved with more partnerships. And we're really excited to be a part of Kickers. So without further ado, here's Pete Stoyanovich.
Thanks, Pete. I appreciate the introduction. Oh, yeah. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody. Really excited to be here in front of all of you this evening. I'm really excited about the new partnership that we've taken on with Canton Soccer. And I want to thank Pete and Joe Amir and the rest of the directors and some of the coaches and everyone that's been involved in the process. But being here at Victory Park, I only thought it was appropriate that we became the official grill of Canton Soccer, simply because you guys are using High Velocity as your home, and we certainly, in the end, will explain a little bit what we want to do to honor that, and I'm really proud to have everyone here this evening. Real quick about me, I'm not going to get into it too much, but like Pete was saying, I did play in the NFL for 12 years, and my passion was really soccer, to be honest with you. And I was very fortunate to, when I came out of high school, and I was very heavily recruited, as you can imagine, I used to play for the Olympic team back in 82, 83, and 84. And unfortunately, the only avenue that we had as soccer players back then were either go overseas and play, because there was really no structure here at the time. The NASL, for some of you parents that may remember, kind of folded back in the early 80s, and there was really no structure with soccer, and it was either overseas or bust. Fortunately for me, I had an option. Obviously, I was an exceptional field goal kicker, and that's what I opted to do. But I did go on to Indiana University, and I spent 3 years doing both. And it was a privilege to play for the university, and I know Joe Stevens is an alumni here from the university, and he's probably the only one in here from Indiana University. But it was an honor for me. It was a privilege. And but for you younger kids today, the opportunity that you guys have is simply incredible. And all the assets that you guys got, and all the training facilities, and all the knowledge that you're picking up with the game of soccer today, it's come so far from 20, 30 years ago. And I feel like they're finally starting to compete on a world-class level, and the opportunity is golden for a lot of you guys. And I'm going to be around here for the rest of the evening. If anyone would like to share some thoughts with me, I'd be more than happy to talk and give you some some advice, or some just talk a little soccer if you'd like. But once again, I don't want to get into it too much, but I just want to thank everyone for being here this evening, and once again, I want to thank Canton Soccer for making this your venue, and having us the opportunity of hosting here tonight. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of the night. Okay.
Thanks, Pete. Pete had alluded, one of the things I want to point out here, as part of the partnership with Kickers, he has offered to give us, every one of our members, a gift card to Kickers that you can use anytime that you're here for 20% off of food and drink specials. We have those cards tonight, and at the end of the night, if you can find John O'Meara, who I think will be sitting right over there, you can grab one of these cards and you can start using it anytime that you come into Kickers. So once again, Pete, thank you so much for taking care of our members. Appreciate it. All right, so why are we here? All right, there's so many questions out there. People are so, I think at times can be overwhelmed by this whole college recruiting process. And before we get into what should we do, when should we do it, how do we do it, and where do we start, it's important to know that, we can hold that there, Danny, that we get caught in that idea that it's a recruiting process that we're a part of. And it's not. It should completely be reversed and called a college search process. And I'm going to kind of get into explaining that a little bit, and then we have another partner that I'm going to introduce who's going to run through the meat of why we're here and what his company's all about. And again, so little time to do it. Go ahead. All right, so people ask me, what's the first thing you have to do? The first things we have to do is we have to know ourselves. And that means every student athlete that's out there needs to understand that there are two things that are important: academics and athletics. So for the student athletes out there, which is the first one on the board? Academics. You have to focus on your grades. There are very, very few of us that will go on and make a career as a professional soccer player. Based on that, you have to use soccer as a tool to enjoy finding whatever that other career will be in your life. So understanding yourself is hugely important. Remember, you're a student athlete. Student is first. A lot of people ask me, what are the opportunities out there? And Dan put this together to talk about the different programs and the amount of, people ask all the time about scholarships. That's part of the process. I think we get tied up in that process, but it's something we need to understand and know. A lot of people understand what the NCAA is, right? National Collegiate Athletic Association. Who understands what the NAIA is? Nice work. Yes. But there wasn't a lot of people that raised their hands. People are like, what is the NAIA? It's another opportunity for kids to go to college and potentially play college soccer. And then there's the National Junior Colleges. And that includes places just like Schoolcraft and some of the other junior colleges that you know in the area. So inside of all those opportunities, and there are a few others, there's the small Christian colleges that are out there that fall into their own category, but those are the main ones. And if you can see all the different totals there, what is available as far as scholarship? People ask all the time. NCAA Division I. If you take all of the four-year institutions, right, the NCAA men's and Division I and II have the smallest amount of men's programs available. But girls, take a look at it on the other side. There's 198 Division I men's programs, and that may actually be a little less now, and there are 320 available to our female athletes. So it's pretty exciting. I know the boys are going, well, why is that exciting to me? There's two sides to this coin, right? I think girls all the time feel like, well, we don't get as many opportunities as the boys. And part of why we wanted to show this is to see how many more opportunities or how many opportunities there are out there for our female athletes as well. But if you look at the totals there, how many scholarships are available? People are like, well, how many people are on a roster? Not everybody on a roster is going to get a scholarship. Not everybody on a roster is going to get a full ride. People talk about full rides all the time. They're almost non-existent. It's amazing how many times people will say, oh, my son or daughter got a full ride. And then I sit and talk to him, I say, oh, really? Well, yeah, that didn't include tuition and that didn't include room and board and books. Well, okay, well, there's a big difference in what a full ride is, right? But what colleges do is they take that amount of scholarships that are available to them, and these are rules not set by the colleges themselves, but by the governing bodies, and they take those scholarships and they'll divide them up. And they figure out, okay, I've got X amount of money. To have 9 scholarships at this level means that's totally different to each school. All right, it's 9 full rides at U of M is going to be way different than 9 full rides at Adrian. Right? See what I'm saying? Because the school costs a little bit more or less depending on your approach. So given all that, you've got all those different opportunities that are there, and then you look at that and say, wow, I potentially have 9,000 full ride scholarships on the boys' side and over 11,000 full ride scholarships on the girls' side. Well, you need to put those numbers into perspective as you're figuring out what it is you want to do. Because they're going to get whittled down as you go back to that last slide, and start to determine what you are all about. And that's where moms and dads and you as a player need to go from here. So Dan, you want to push along? All right, we need to be realistic. Meet with your coaches. Why do you want to meet with your coach? Why do we want to meet with our coach? Why do you guys sit through evaluations? Got somebody back there. Go ahead. Why do you want to meet with your coach? Yell. I love it. I love it. How old are you? I can't see. 8. That is an early starter right there. I think there's a scholarship waiting somewhere over there if you're starting this early. That's awesome. That's a great answer. But once you get a little bit older and you start realizing, man, I'm already a freshman in high school, meeting with your coach helps you figure out some of those first steps to help you be realistic with yourself. You know, where does your coach feel that you fit in? You know, does your coach feel that you're an NCAA Division I athlete? And if the coaches are, and we instruct them all the time, be honest. We sit down and say, you know what? I don't know that you're someone that is going to get recruited at U of M, right? Or Michigan State. You may need to be looking at maybe some smaller schools because that fits you, not necessarily as your academic interest, but your coach is going to talk to you on the athletic side of things. So meeting with your coach. In that meeting, you're going to discuss strengths and weaknesses. We don't have it right here. Talk to your parents. You and your parents need to discuss, where do you stand? I need to talk to my kids all the time about the importance of the very first thing we talked about, academics. Riley's here and you have no idea how many times he's like, hey, Dad, I got 3 A's and 2 A minuses. Hey, what the hell happened to the A minuses? Just kidding, but you know where we're at with this. The better you can be as a student, the more opportunities there are for you. And I think as parents, we want to sit down and be realistic and say, all right, hey, not all of our kids are going to be all straight A's. That's not what I'm saying you need to be either here. But we want to be realistic as to what it is that fits you academically. If you're not straight A's or you can't stand math, maybe you're not going to go to an engineering school. Make sense, right? So we start to talk about those things and develop a rapport with our own children that says, hey, this is what I think you're good at. You know, you're tremendous at writing and you're such a creative person. Let's look at schools that are going to help foster that. So not only do you meet with your coaches, but you meet with your parents and start to develop that realistic script that's going to help you whittle down the search. Obviously, this all has to be done at an unbiased perspective. All right, be honest. So we have to tell our coaches all the time in evaluations, be honest. It's okay. You know what people say? One of the greatest things I think kids can do right now, think about this as you're whittling through your wallet right now, parents. How about sending your kids to a junior college for 2 years, saving a ton of dough, right? And then they can transfer to a 4-year university and still possibly pay or play 4 years of soccer. It's a wonderful option out there. And if that fits your son or daughter, then it's something you really want to take a look at and pursue. Set realistic goals with realistic schools. You can't understand where I'm going with all of that, right? So you're athletically, how do I think I fit? Academically, how do I think I fit? Asking for references. Not only is that to put together your profile and have me down as your reference and your coach as a reference, but you need to get academic references. Talk to your counselors, talk to your teachers, and go from there. Go ahead, Danny. Oh yeah, reality. And this is huge. Only 2% of all athletes are actively recruited by college coaches, leaving the remaining 98% to self-recruit. I told you before, it should be changed from the recruiting process to the search process. And this is why. People ask me all the time, who knows Jamie Scott here? Some of you do. Jamie Scott's one of our coaches. Who can tell me where Jamie Scott coaches college soccer? Lawrence Tech, she does. Just had a meeting with her. She's coaching right now tonight. Couldn't be here. But I was just talking to her the other day, and we were both going over the same thing. And she's like, hey, what are you going to talk about? I said, I really want to talk about how important it is for our athletes and our families to grab a hold of this process themselves and really go at it. And she's like, Pete, that's so important just because of the resources. And I said, I get it, Jamie. So think about that. So she's at Lawrence Tech, and resources are different. But what are resources for a college coach? You don't have to spit it out. I'll give it to you. Resources are time, their amount of time, and money. It's the same resources that we have in our everyday life. So Jamie, for example, at Lawrence Tech, only has so much time and so much money. So when she's going to use those resources, she has to use them the best way possible. How do you think using her time and money is best spent? Spit some out. Come on. Coaching. So she's earning money. So if you could say, going to college showcases. That's awesome. You're going to see very little athletes. You have no idea if those athletes are interested in your school, and you're going to spend a lot of money. So as a college coach, that's one avenue. What she wants to find, and every coach, I don't care at what level they're at, wants to find, is that player that's interested in them. Because now, I have someone who's told me they want me. And if you don't know me, I coached at a very small school for 10 years, and trust me, I used to joke that the most I could do with my recruiting was open the front door and yell. And it really was about that minimal. But if I knew they wanted to come to my school, I wanted to find out about that student athlete. What are their grades? How are they? I'm going to call their coach. You know, what do you think of this player? Now I feel like I'm spending my resources appropriately. So think about that. If I don't get the initial contact from the student athlete, I may never know anything about who he or she is. Does that make sense? All right, so that's the reality of it all. Go ahead, Danny. We'll move through this. All right, you want to make a plan. People talk about making a plan, and the guy that's really going to talk to you about how this whole thing works is going to talk to you in depth about that plan. But you've got 4 years of high school to make this plan work. The first year is definitely sit down and do that self-evaluation, that self-analysis. Talk to your coach, talk to your parents, go from there. Your sophomore year, you really want to start searching. Start looking at schools that might have an interest for you. First you're going to say is, I'm a sophomore, I'm 15 or 16 years old, I have no idea what I want to do. That's okay. All right? Start figuring some different things out. You got to have an idea of who you are. You know why you have an idea of who you are? Because of step one. You sat down with your coaches and your parents and you talked about what it is that makes you up as a person. Then you're in between your junior and sophomore year and going into your junior year, start to set up opportunities to go see different schools. Right? A lot of these can be very unofficial. And Greg will talk to you a little bit more. I'm going to introduce him in a little bit more about official and unofficial visits. But you can just go check out a campus at any time. All right? I mean, if your son or daughter wants to go to UCLA, that might be a tougher campus to go check out with. But let me know. I could possibly go with you. But in there, you're going to see what is that school like? What's it all about? Also, contact the coach. Send the coach an email. Be personal with your contacts. Don't say, dear coach, your school is cool, I'd like to go there. It's not going to work. You need to say, all right, hey, Coach McEvely, I am really interested in the school that you coach at. I understand that you've got a wonderful business program. Business is something I'm totally interested in. On top of that, I think one of the things I might want to do is go into marketing and business. With that, I've noticed that your soccer program is boom, 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 and we list it. And at the end of the day, here are my references, and I'd really love the opportunity to talk to you more about it. A couple things about that cover letter. I went through this very quickly. What did I start with? Name. Second part, go to the body of it. Academics. Thank you. Don't forget, that is always first. Tell them why you want to go to that school. It's not because you want to play soccer. You're going to get to that. And we did, and we talked about that program. So in your sophomore and junior year, you're doing that. And then you're hitting hard your senior year, that final list that you've whittled down to really say, all right, where am I going to end up? And people ask me all the time, well, how do I know if I've made the right decision? You don't. I went to Central Michigan University to play soccer. Inside of a very, very short period of time, I had knee surgery. Didn't play soccer there. I was lucky that I enjoyed that school. So in my case, I got lucky. But I can tell you that even though you don't know what's going to happen, what the future holds, by doing all this research, you're going to be way better off than just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. This research is really going to help you know that no matter what happens, I'm going to enjoy the next 4 or 5 years of my life. Right? Whether that be 4 or 5 years of playing great soccer, or in my case, having to just, hey, you know what? I was here for school and I knew it when I went there, and you go from there. So that's how you're going to set your plan up, and that's your outline for your plan. Go ahead, Dan. All right, so you want to be proactive, kind of going over those steps again. You've got to do the research, and you're going to be so happy with when I introduce Greg to you here, because he's going to help you with most of this. Make yourself known, contacting those coaches. Be knowledgeable. So when you're writing those letters, remember we talked about, hey, I understand you have this business program, and I know your soccer program is graduating 3 senior goalkeepers, if your son or daughter happens to be a goalkeeper. You're sure you're knowledgeable and interested. Make yourself more marketable. This last point is something we don't touch on a lot. It's not just about a program saying, wow, you're a good soccer player. Now, if you're that exceptional soccer player, that could be all it takes. But what else are you doing? Are you involved with your church or your community? Are you involved with your school? And that could be with school government. That could be with the yearbook. That could be that, you know what, you've got good grades and you're on the National Honor Society. Those are the things that make you more marketable. You know what else makes you more marketable, believe it or not? A job. If you go out and get a job and show that you can handle the responsibility, right, of working, that's an asset that makes you more marketable. Go ahead, Dan. All right. Now here is why we are here. We had mentioned before that the club is really starting to develop more partnerships. And over the years, I've been looking at all kinds of different companies that are out there that say, hey, come meet with us. We can almost guarantee you a scholarship. You guys picked up on that, right? Yeah. Shake your head. Yeah. Almost here. Yeah. You're going to hear all kinds of things out there. There are all kinds of companies. Some are good. Some I wouldn't get anywhere near. But what we wanted to find is a company that we could partnership as a club to benefit you as our families and our members. So it's zero money out of your pocket. This is a partnership that we're paying for that's going to help you go through all of those bits and pieces and even more. Because when I get Greg up here, he's going to talk to you about things that I haven't even hit on here tonight. So our new partner to help us with our college search process is called College Fit Finder. And their CEO and owner is a guy by the name of Greg Allen. And without further ado, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce Greg Allen.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I have nothing else to say. While we're getting set up, I guess I'll go in a little bit of introductions. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me. Came in on the red eye this morning, so I apologize if I fall asleep in my conversation. I'm from Los Angeles, so this is crazy out here. It's cold. I got off the plane, I walked outside, my ears froze. I walked right back in the building and I said, I got to take a couple breaths before I go out there. Tonight we're going to go over the college recruiting process and how it pertains to the specific system and how we design things for you guys so you have resources at your fingertips that we didn't have when we were going through the process ourselves. So, a little bit about me. I'm originally from Las Vegas. Actually makes me good at my job because nobody is coming out to the middle of the desert to come watch me play soccer. Nobody was doing it. There's one school in the entire state that plays men's soccer, UNLV. They didn't like you, you're not playing. That's it. You had to be extremely proactive. Shout from the rooftops, come watch me play, come watch me play, come watch me play. Otherwise, you get used to the idea you're not. Completely unacceptable to me. Not to my family. I was a good player. I played on at the time, we were the 25th best team in the country. So we get in front of UCLA to come watch me. Big schools would come watch our team play, but I didn't get noticed. Unfortunately, I had 2 kids on the national team that played with me in the center midfield. We ran a 3-5-2. I did all their dirty work for them. I was a defensive center midfielder. nobody paid attention to me. Nobody came and watched me. Nobody came and found me. And I was good. College, played in college, coached in college. I was an all-Western United States player. I played semi-pro ball. And nobody's coming after me. So me and my family had to have that discussion that Pete was talking about. We sat down at the dinner table and said, is this important? Well, it was. So both my parents were teachers. We didn't have a lot of money to rub together. So they said, if you were going to do this, we're going to do it right. And we started really plowing through the process. It was so much of an ordeal for my family because we did it the right way. I was talking with 55 colleges, 55 schools I was having dialogue with, keeping tabs on who we were talking to, when we talked to them. I'll share some of those stories about some my mishaps along the way and why we designed things the way we did so that way you guys don't run into those obstacles. So when I got to school, finally, it was an active decision. It was the best choice of my life. I played at a small school in California. Doubt anyone's heard of it, Cal Lutheran University. So I come from a smaller school environment that was an amazing education. Because at some point, players, unfortunately, I'm the bearer of bad news. Your career's going to end. I'm 31, I think. Yeah, 31 now. I'll be 32 soon. I'm washed up. Okay, I'm sure all the staff here, we're all washed up. We don't play anymore, right? We back in the good old days. Okay, so if you're not looking at it in terms of the education, sorry, you're doing it wrong. Okay, who's looked into the cost of college yet? And Dan, if you want to go ahead and click on this one on top. Okay, so I'm going to say, and by the way, I'm going to be a little interactive tonight, so that way we get a little bit more out of this. So, players, I am going to be picking on you, and I'm sorry, man, you're in the front row. So, players, who's looked at the cost of college? Okay, you have back there. Okay, what have you found? What do you think? It is expensive. Where's your parents? Yeah, it's expensive. Like, what school do you want to go to? Name one. Quickly, go. Oh, where do you want to go to school? Where? Where do you want to go to school? Harvard. Okay. We'll come back. We'll come back. All right. So Harvard is expensive school. Okay. So just using the example out in California, players, I guess on the girls' side, who would want to play, or parents who would want to send their kid to go play for USC? Great education, Pac-12 school. No? A couple? Yeah, I would. All right. Well, that's about $60,000 a year. $60,000. $60,000 a year. Harvard's not too far off from that. So $60,000 a year, guys. And then you have to start thinking about how are we going to get ourselves into a position that we can afford something like that? Because, you know, back there, it looks like your parents can be writing a nice blank check for school, right? No, I doubt that. Okay. So, what you can do in the classroom, what you can do on the field to prepare yourself for that gigantic burden. And what I'm not putting up here, because I'm really going to focus on the training session of the sophomore tonight, but who's got a little one? Like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old brother or sister. Okay? You should start looking at the cost of college then, because the last 20 years has been about a 7% inflation rate. So by the time, let's say a 2025 grad gets to school, USC for their 4 years will be costing about $600,000. Look at the numbers. So, what this is the burden that the family is going to be paying for. So, what do you need to be doing in the meantime to get yourself in a position to get scholarships on the field, in the classroom, anything you can do to get a hold of? Because this is scary, and this is reality. Okay, so, we're going to come back to what you guys had mentioned a little bit before. So, this is the College Fit Finder. Again, like Pete had mentioned, this isn't a sales pitch. Every single player gets access to this, and Dan's going to be sending out an email with everybody's usernames and passwords. Everything I show you tonight, you guys, every player at the high school level has access to this. So, the base building block to this process is research. So why do you want to go to Michigan State? Michigan State. You just don't know? You just said where? Good education? Why do you want to, well, I'm going to say, why do you want to go to Harvard? That's a dumb question. But does it have your major? Yeah, pretty much. Do you really know? Does Michigan State have your major? He said, okay, well, this is exactly what we're doing. This is perfect. You literally teed this up for me. Fantastic. All right. So, I couldn't have gone any better. That could have backfired. So, under GPA, if I type in a 3.8, let's say I have a 3.8 unweighted GPA, and at the bottom of this left-hand column, there is an orange Go button. Once you click that, you'll see how everything recalculates on the main screen here to show schools that meet my academic background. All these schools have a 3.8 GPA. These black stars, and I'm going to step out of the way, black stars are how good that specific team is based on their wins and loss record over the last few years. We're soccer players. We want to know, are we going to play for a good team, mediocre team? And then there's a big difference, and you'll talk to your staff about this, when you say, where do you see me fitting in? And when they look back at you and they say, you know, number one, we kind of see you in the D2, D3 light, and they're honest with you, look back and say, thank you. You did me a huge service. I had nobody to do something like that. But if they say, let's say Division I, if they think that you have the ability to play Division I, big difference between somebody going to play at North Carolina on the girls' side and maybe a local Division I school. Okay, so we keep track of how good this specific school is based on their wins and loss record, and I'll show you how you can sort on that information. Has their division, their test scores of a typical student getting into that college, and we paired and meshed that all together on the soccer side as well. So if you want to go ahead and touch, or let's go look at Division III schools, okay? And let's say we want to go play for a big-time college. So go scroll that all the way on the team rating all the way to 5 stars. Meaning that we want to go play for a team that's maybe Division III caliber, maybe has the opportunity to win a national championship. So you just slide that all the way over and then hit go again to bottom. So on the parent side, if you scroll all the way to the top there, who's heard of Emory University? Okay? Some of you, not enough. If I'm a parent, a couple years ago, that team just won the national championship, and it's literally one of the best educations in the country. It's an Ivy League education. And their team went to the national championship game. Isn't that what we want for our kids, parents? To get the best education in the country and go to the national championship game? That's what I want. Okay, and we're looking at the Division III world. Really, really important that you understand that there's a lot of misconceptions about the Division III world. Okay, if you play D3 ball, then you're no good. Or it's not that big of a deal. Okay? That is really, really far from the truth. Let me explain a couple things. So, like when I was playing, I was a D3 player. In the summers, I would back home to play semi-pro ball in Vegas, where the entire UNLV squad stuck around. I was a D3 player playing on a D1 team, and I was a starting center midfielder. The ball ran through me the entire summer. I was the playmaker. We played a team called the Utah Salt Rats. No idea why they were named that. And literally every kid that came off the bus was from the rival school from my college. And it was the entire squad was University of Redlands. And what are they doing here? Okay, so we played them. It's a D3 team playing against a D1 team. We lost 5-0. It was one of the worst beatings I've ever gotten on the field before. Okay? The year I graduated, who's heard of Messiah College? Okay? Only a few of you. On the boys' side, they've won 8 of the last 10 national championships. Okay? 8 of the last 10 national championships. The year I graduated, they had more kids go to the MLS and MLS Missouri teams than any Division I school in the country. That is how good they are. So, Division I, Division II, Division III, throw it out. Stop playing the name game. Okay? If you don't know if they have your major, you should be looking to see if they have your major. We're going to go through a couple of those things. So, very important that you look at it that way. do not discount things out of the equation before you get started in the process, okay? So continuing with this, at least out in California, nobody's heard of Illinois Wesleyan. Okay, some people have heard of WashU St. Louis, one of the best educations in the country, fantastic soccer team. Okay, so if we wanted to continue to refine the search here, let's go ahead and say regions and states, and let's just say Midwest because we're in the Midwest. Let's go click just here. Just go ahead and click out of it. Just maybe touch there. So. And then go ahead and select major. Let's just say, who knows, he wants to be an architect. And then hit the orange go button. There's my two schools. So think about how Google doesn't work like this. Google, you can't type in, Google, please show me all the schools that meet all of these criteria. No, if you want to see Stanford, it's going to show you Stanford. Okay, so if this is what from out in California, nobody's heard of Case Western. Okay, so we want to make sure that we expose kids to showing them that there's opportunities like this all over the country. Okay, and out west, I mean, there's a lot more schools out here, but we get kind of lulled to sleep thinking that we can throw a rock out here, we can hit 15 schools, and someone's going to come watch me play. Doesn't work like that. If you're not shouting from the rooftops, come watch me play, it just may not happen for you. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, you really have to take ownership of the process. So let's go ahead and click on the name WashU in St. Louis. Just click on, click that, or the orange icon here. Okay, there's a pop-up window. Has all the academic information on the left-hand side. Including things like nickname, mascot, and people's talking about being personal with your messages to these college coaches. So critical. Who's gotten random ID camp information from a college? Dear player, come play come play in front of me and pay me $200. Yeah, okay, you're shaking your heads. Yes, you've seen that. Okay, and what does that make you? Does it make you want to go to that? No, of course not. You don't want to do that, but if they said, you know what, hey Greg, saw you at the National League games, I saw you 2 goals in your second game, pinged one off the post, love your touch, love your vision, love this, love that, love for you to come to my campus, get one last look at you so I can talk with you when you're here, would you go to that one? Absolutely. Absolutely. So don't we need to be doing the same thing back to them? Okay? We don't say, dear coach. No. Okay, dear Coach Allen, dear Coach Montenegro, dear Coach whoever. Okay, and just like Pete was talking about, walking through those steps on personalizing that message, so critical that you really show them that that their school is of interest to you. So that's why we keep information. I can really see myself playing for the Bears. Okay, just the fact that you know their mascot or their short name, college majors, enrollment, application deadlines. If you have no idea where this is located, click the map. Yeah, click the map button.
You really want me to click the map?
Oh, sorry. What's that?
I said you really want me to click the map?
Yes, I do. Sorry. It pulls up directly in Google. So now you can see exactly where it's located. Zoom out, see what's around there. If you X out of that window, go back. And let's say click on the athletic website button. That's all right. We'll use this one. But you can go to the academic website, athletic website, do more research on the school. Hey, Coach, saw that you guys just beat Case Western last week. I know they're your arch rivals. Congratulations, really interested in your program. Okay? This allows you all of this information at your fingertips. Otherwise, you're having to go out and find this information, build a database. Who has built one? Who's gone onto Excel and really gone with and started gathering all this information? Not too many? Okay, well, I guess if you have, stop, because it's all right here for you. So if you go back to College Fit Finder, it even has the coaching staff and their contact information right there for you. We keep this pretty current. So we have about 7,500 kids from around the country that are using this, that help to report, when a coach leaves and then the assistant takes over, the dominoes started falling, and this coach goes there, this coach goes there. All you have to do is click, you don't have to click this one, but report that staffing change. We'll verify the information and immediately get that current for you guys. If this was a school that you did like, click the thumbs up button. The like button. And just say OK. It's going to say, should I add this to your favorites list? Say OK. And then X out of that pop-up window. And now you can see that it has an orange row at the top of it. That denotes it's one of my favorite schools. So if you click up top to my colleges, these are your favorites list. This is what you guys should be talking about at the dinner table every once in a while. Refining your list. Okay? I researched this school. I liked it. I didn't like it. I talked to this coach. Didn't like him. I liked him. Went on a visit. I liked it. I didn't like it. I liked brick buildings. They were more modern. I don't know. Whatever is of interest to you guys. I have my major. I changed my major. But if, let's just say, this is a school that is no longer on the list, just click one of these delete signs. It'll purge it from that list for you, so that you have a little bit of an ebb and flow to adding schools in. Take Notre Dame. Get them off. This is important because your staff has access to this information. And there's an important reason why. Just like Pete was talking about that, sitting down, having that evaluation with them, and asking, where exactly do you see me fitting in? And where exactly do you see me having success at the next level? Does that mean that they say you can't play D1? No, that is not what they're saying. But what they are saying is, you're asking the question, where do you see me having the most level of success? Because you have to start asking yourself questions about this process. Okay, so Michigan State. So let's say you go to Michigan State, and obviously good enough to play for the team. That means you're a very good player. But because they are so good, what if you didn't see the light of day for 4 years? Like you didn't have a lot of playing time. You happy? Okay, so you're not. So, and we'll get to those types of decisions in a bit, but that's the type of research you really need to be doing on, am I going to be happy at this place? So, when you start talking to these coaches on staff, they can help look at this. So if they say, Greg, I kind of see in the D2, D3 world, and then they come in and they look at your list because they're trying to help, and it's all Pac-12 schools, Big Ten schools, ACC schools. What do you think they're doing? They're going to come back to the training ground and say, Greg, remember that conversation we had? If this is important to you, then this is where we see you fitting in. Okay? We think that you should be adding in some more target-rich environments. So that way, we really want you to have a successful time at the next level. So, and ask somebody, like Pete said, ask somebody who's going to be blunt and or maybe at least honest. Okay? Because if somebody looks back at you and says, oh no, Greg, you're D1 all the way, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, and I'm not a D1 player because I wasn't a D1 player, not good. Not good. Okay? So, very important to have those types of evaluations. Okay, the next piece is the correspondence tab. This is where you might want to hit Control minus sign. Just so we can fit it all. One more. There we go. Okay, so this is where you're going to keep track of all of your communication with every college that you're speaking to. Going back to my thing, I was talking with 55 schools. Okay? It was crazy. It's crazy. I don't necessarily recommend talking with 55s, but I was a little desperate with my specific situation. You guys might be in a little different situation out here. But one story that particularly comes to mind was my mom handed me the phone one day. And she said, here, it's a college coach, told me the school, picked up the phone, started talking to a coach for 10 minutes. I assumed that I was talking to the University of Incarnate Word in Texas. Turns out I wasn't. Turns out, for 10 minutes, I was trying to convince this coach that I knew his goalkeeper because he went to my high school. I was describing him, and at the time, he looked like a surfer dude from L.A., and he had long blonde hair, and I told him, he's a goalkeeper, he's got these little, he's got a screw loose, how do you not know this guy? The coach is telling me, Greg, he's not on our roster. I'm telling him, how do you not know your team? I didn't say it like that, don't worry. I'm not that bad, but, that was my story. My mom literally came running up the stairs with a sign that said, you idiot, you're talking to the wrong school. So to have to actually humble myself and ask the question, oh my gosh, coach, who am I talking to? Bad. Okay? Turns out I was talking to the school that I actually went and played for, which was good. But Had I had something like this, to be able to know what was going on with any given school at any given moment, I probably wouldn't have run into situations like that. So simply, if you were to click on like a new correspondence, and let's say they sent you an ID camp, or you went on a visit, you wanted to put your notes in. So click on the white new button. I'll go back to correspondence, and the white new button. And you can tell what college it was, what date it was it an email, was it a phone call, they sent it to you, was it inbound, outbound, and then you can type your notes in it there. So that way, over time, you can X out of that pop-up window. And let's say, just click on the fourth one down at Delphi University. And you can see here what's gone on with this school over time. I spoke to them on this date. This is what we talked about. Next time I pick up the phone, I'm always sounding like a viable candidate for this school. I know what we were talking about. Trust me when I say, when you really get into the depths of the recruiting process, there were people that were recruiting me that at some point stopped qualifying me on the field, and they just want to let you know that they care about you as a person. They want to recruit you. So to be able to, one guy literally knew the University of Redlands, and he went on to Stanford. Now he's working for U.S. Soccer. His name was Rob Becerra. He knew the girl I was dating. He knew I went to prom. He knew the color dress that she wore. I mean, I was weird. But what it did is it showed me that he cared about me above and beyond just a person. Okay, but it was, I can load that information here, and you can track it over time. If I look at the date and say, wow, this is my #1 school, and I haven't talked to them since August. Do you think that school's interested in me anymore if I haven't communicated since August? Nope. Okay? So make sure that you are keeping up with this communication back and forth. So if you go to calendar, parents love this tab because it holds the kids accountable. Everything that we do is about holding players accountable for their actions, okay? So if I log in as a parent, I can click on the calendar tab, and this auto tags everything that's been done on the correspondence tab. So if I look at this month and say, Greg, you haven't really done much this month. Well, let me take a look what you did last month. So click this back arrow, and let me take a look what you did last month. Didn't do much then either. Maybe we need to have a conversation at the dinner table. Okay, so players, the days of yeah mom, yeah dad, yeah coach, I got this, over. Okay, they can see what you're doing in the process. And honestly, if they're going to be writing a check for $300,000 for your scholarship or for your school, probably have a right to do so. And then the final piece here is the calculator tab. This is for the decision-making process. So who has made a decision, doesn't have to be for soccer, had a son or daughter recently make a decision on where they went to school? Okay, why'd they choose the school? You brainwashed them. I have never heard that answer. All right? Okay, all right, got it. Okay, so that was it. Other than that, it was a horrible fit. You just shoved them in that way. Threw away all the other applications. Got it. So maybe this is a bad example. Anybody else? Anybody else? No. No? All right. Well, things to think about in the process of above and beyond. Can I play soccer there? Do they have my major, and can I afford it? Those are the three big ones. But above and beyond that, what about we all know the world works on who you know. What about the alumni network? Should we be paying attention to that? Or the faculty-student ratio? Some kids flourish more in an environment, smaller class sizes, some like bigger ones. The academic assistance above and beyond a typical student that an athlete gets because they're taking tests on the road. Okay, they're having to study on the road. Maybe they're having to fly around the country depending on what school you're playing for. Okay, what else are they doing above and beyond study hall? I know some schools literally give you a laptop and a personal tutor for every single one of your classes. So, what else are they doing above and beyond just getting you through college? Because trust me when I say, when you go play at the next level, it's a lot on your back. It's a lot on your shoulders. So, what about the quality of the team? Or the inverse of that, my ability to make an impact. Yeah, I can make UCLA's roster, but if I don't see the light of day, do I really want to go play there? And I know Michigan State, you said no. So those are sometimes inverses to each other. So basically here, helps you really come up with additional reasons on really why you should be choosing a school. You tell the program how important it is. So, Dan, why don't you go ahead and adjust a couple of these mediums to highs to criticals, just a couple of them. Basically telling the program how important is this to you? How important is it that you get along, you mesh with the coach and staff, you get a really good feeling from them? How important is it that when you go visit the campus, you really like their facilities? You know what, that's not that important to me. How important is the playing atmosphere? Oh my gosh, I've always dreamed of playing in a big, a stadium or a lot of community involvement. Okay, if that's important to you, it's all personal to you. Not your coach's answers, not your teacher's answers, not your best friend's answers. This is for you. And then, let's say this first school, maybe change a couple of these 10s to 1s. So these schools you should be putting up here are programs that you're making a decision on. Not that I got random ID camp information from. It's like the last 2 or 3 schools I'm trying to compare. And when I made my decision, I did a T-chart, pros and cons on one list. It was Redlands versus Cal Lutheran versus Linfield College. And I kind of just looked at the list and I just kind of guessed. This helps you to apply logic to a very emotional decision. So if I hit save, Cal Lutheran was my number 1. Now it's not. Based on my own answers. So everybody's different. You could be, 2 center midfielders of the same makeup on the field, but preferences are very different. And then you can start to compare apples to apples on the financial piece too. Yeah, my number 1 school, based on my own answer, is going to cost me $200,000, but my number 2 is only going to cost me $50,000. Maybe I go there. Okay, so I don't mean that. I know I'm throwing out bigger numbers. Not every school costs them, but just so that you guys understand what may be coming down the tracks, so you start planning appropriately. Okay, if you click up top, player profile, that one, the purple link. There you go. Every player has a branded player profile. Okay, it's Canton, your soccer club, your colors, your logos, your everything. Who's got a resume? Who's spent time building something so far? Okay, you got what, 1, kind of, sort of, 2, okay, 3. All right, good. We got this covered now. Parents, you wouldn't walk into a job interview without a resume, right? Oh, not. Okay. Same thing. Players, when they say, college coaches will say, yeah, do you have any information that you can show me about who you are as a player? Well, we only have 5 people right now that can actually do that. Now you should be able to go in and enter in this information here to make sure that you can actually show this information to a college coach. Every player has a unique URL, so you can copy and paste that link directly into an email, send that off. If you click on the video tab, just kind of click through, and then click on the video, they can play your highlight video right here, so they don't have to link out. Because if you score a goal like that, all right, someone's going to sign you, right? Yep, I would sign that guy. And if you click on the athletics tab, you can put in your honors, stats, highlights, news articles, your upcoming schedule, along with your personal training above and beyond just what you're doing on the field with your team. You can go to the academics tab, click on that. You can embed your transcript so coaches can actually verify that you have a 4.5 GPA. And references. I know Pete was mentioning this about references. This is where you need to be putting your coach's information in so colleges can contact them about you. And if you want, you can ask them if they could maybe write a couple sentences about you as a player. That might help college coaches understand a little bit more about who you are. If you click the print PDF button down here, it automatically spits out a 1-page document so that you can attach that in an email, print 10 of them out, put them in your bags. You never know who you're going to run into at Starbucks after your, showcase game, and Michigan State's there, and it's the coach, and like when I couldn't even remember my name, if I was like, oh, but here's my resume, and at least I can follow up with an email and say, I was that kid that couldn't remember my name, and I'm sure that they'll actually remember who you are. So this is important to have this available to you guys. Print 10 of them out, put them in your bag. So if you X out of that pop-up window, so that just window up here, Sorry? What'd I do?
I just got
How's it
everything. Then
Yeah, that one. There you go.
where?
Okay, we'll go here. It has all my stuff saved. Okay, so then I might have to come log in again. So
Sorry,
we'll go
my
to the
bad.
next
Wrong
website.
exit. Go ahead.
Type in team, and then that's the first one down.
can't work it.
And then password club and test. This is the W. All right, good recovery, good recovery. All right. Okay, so this is what your coaches on staff have access to. This is what they can log in and see, so that way they can better monitor the progress of all of you guys as players. Because again, holding you accountable is really important. Okay, so let's just say you just had a meeting with them and an evaluation. They said, we kind of see you in this particular world. So if you click on, let's say John Vogel, the second one, and click on the thumbs up, so we want to look at their favorites. Say, continue. They can log into your account and then click on the My Colleges tab
All right.
up top. And now they can take a look at your list. And if this list is, you have a 3.0, why is Harvard on your list? I'm not calling Harvard. Pete, are you calling Harvard for somebody that has a 3.0 GPA?
Not gonna happen.
Absolutely not going to happen. Okay? So, if you want their help, if you truly want to elicit their help, make sure that you're targeting schools that are of an appropriate fit academically and athletically. Because it's their reputation on the line, it's the club's reputation on the line when they're reaching out to colleges on your behalf. Okay, so if you exit or go back to the team admin site. Yep. Okay. If we go to the teams tab.
I hate
Okay, and I'll have to show a couple of screens here, but I'm going to show this view first. If you click on the blue one on the top, every team also gets a branded team profile as well. Okay, so very important that maybe before you go to an event, that you send this URL so a college coach or all the coaches that are going to be in attendance, so they can click on any one of these players, pull up their information, watch their highlight videos, and then say, wow, this is a fantastic team. I want to go watch them live. I want to prioritize them above and beyond all of the other players that are out there. Because when you go to these showcases, if you haven't noticed, there's 1,000 kids out there. Okay, and there's 20 fields going on at the exact same time. So, if Stanford, you really want to play in Stanford because and they're on the list, you're really excited. Yes, Stanford's there, but if they're on field 8 when you're on field 12 at 8 in the morning, do they see you play? Nope. Nope. Okay, so making sure before you go to these events, really reaching out to these schools. Come watch me play. Come watch me play. Here's my schedule. You can do this with your team as well so they can take a look at all of the kids. Wow, this is a good squad. I want to make sure to come watch them. If you click the print PDF button here, now is there any managers that's made a brochure for showcases yet? Okay, we got one. All right. And it just had Michigan State. That was it across the top. And so I'm assuming it took a long time, but for all the managers that haven't done this yet, this is what you guys really should be doing. So you go to these showcases and you see all the college coaches sitting on the sidelines. Typically what happens is that somebody, either it's the manager or a parent, goes around, hands out brochures to the coaches that are watching the game, jots down the names of what schools came to what games, so that way, after the event, you guys can reach back out to them and say, hey coach, I know you were at my game, I was number 14 on such and such team, what'd you think? Well, you'd probably say, come up with better than what you think, but you can actually reach out to them so that way they have some more info on you about, again, showing interest in their school. So that's what you need to be doing. This prints it out all for you. So players, all you have to do is fill out your information. Every kid's tagged to a specific team, okay? And it spits it out there for you. Now managers, I'm going to go over a little bit quickly, basic information, and if anybody needs any tutorials on this, we'll be more than happy to help here. So if you click on the green edit button, that one. Managers, you have your own special login here as well. And this is when you do log in, and we'll get you those that information. you will see the roster of your individual squad. Okay? You can do basic editing information. We've all been there where we add a new player at the last second and we're going to a showcase game and we need to do a little bit of work for them, and we have the ability to do that here. But if you scroll down, you can add guest players here from within the club. So if a 16-year-old's guest playing up on the 17 squad, then we can add them there. It'll automatically add it to your brochure for you. You can put in upcoming notes, or you can uncheck a player that isn't going to be. Let's say they go down with an injury for 6 months, or they're not going to be at the event and you don't want them to be on the brochure. Then if you click this red print PDF of selected players, it will actually add the notes, add the guest players on your roster, and do everything for you. You notice here that as players commit in the program to what school they're going to, it replaces their photo with the logo of the school. Number one, we're bragging about what you guys are doing as a club and a team, so college coaches keep coming back to find more Canton players. And number two, hands off college coaches, this kid's already taken care of. Okay? So if you X out of this window and go back up here, yes, okay, perfect. If you did want to pay managers, if you click on the yellow edit button just on this one, it takes you to a screen. Like I mentioned, you can do some basic editing functionality here as well, just to make sure that these brochures and everything that we're presenting to college coaches looks really nice. Okay, so scroll to the top. And let's go ahead with search. And then the drop down, and let's just say men's soccer. And then say go. So now your coaches also have login access to this as well. So they have the same Rolodex and search functionality that you do. They have all the contact information of the coaches around the country, along with sorting ability, so they can better help find schools for you. So if you go to them and say, you know what, coach, I'm on the program, I'm using it, but are there any other schools that you might recommend for me, and this is kind of what I'm looking for, they actually will be able to help with this as well. So that way, I know you guys have some directors that are really in charge of helping with the college process. Now your staff will be able to do this as well. And if you click on the correspondence tab, that last one, this is where it all ties together. So why it's important that you log all of your communication, because on the correspondence tab for your individual college fit finder, because it gets stored in this umbrella. So if, let's say, a coach on staff logs in and they say, I want to take a look at what Lauren. So if you type in Lauren and then hit the blue search button. Hold on, that one. Just say LAU and then hit the search. So let's say Lauren comes up to the coach and say, you know what, I don't know what's going on. There's other girls on the team that's getting recruited and I don't understand. We went to the movies last weekend and everyone's talking about it and I'm not getting recruited and that's why I'm playing for this club and I don't understand. Okay? Well, I know as a coach, I'll be like, okay, no problem. We've done a college night for you. We've taken you to showcase you, put you in a position to have a lot of success. Got the college fit finder for you, giving you the blueprint, giving you the roadmap, told you what to do, push you in the right direction, but you have to take ownership of this process. And I take a look and say, well, Lauren, you've only done 5 things in the last year. All the other girls that are having a lot of success in this process have 100 things that they've done. Okay? So, it's not time to panic, but if this is important to you, then you have to be living on this. Okay? We have clubs that literally, this is the answer. And these are the ones that have a lot of success with this program. If a player comes up to a coach and says, I have a question on the college recruiting process. First answer is, are you on the college fit finder? And if the answer is, well, no, not really, go get on that program, come back to me, and when you have really dived into this process and are taking it seriously, I will help. I'll basically walk through fire. But you need to show me that this is important to you. I will help you in this process, but you got to do it. And this isn't cutting it. If I'm a coach on staff, it's not cutting it. Okay? So I can be proactive, or I can hold players accountable, or if you click the black clear filters button, things like this. If a coach on staff decides they want to give a homework assignment this week, say, all right, girls, All right, players, this week everybody needs to call a college coach because we're at that stage in our process. Well, I can take a look at team. I can select my team here. And on type, I can say player phone call. And then I can hit search. And the days of, again, yeah, coach, I got this, I made the calls. No, you didn't. Only 2 girls on the team did it this week. Guess what I'm doing at practice? Going back out and having another conversation with the team. Okay? So, parents, I know that we all want to hold our kids accountable for what they're doing and really help them along their way. We build these technologies for you guys, for the club, for the players, to really take ownership of your process. It's not about your coaches. It's about you. It's about your future. Okay? It's about life after soccer. Okay? So this is, in a nutshell, what this program is, what it does. I'll leave you with a couple notes. One, you gotta be relentless. You gotta be relentless. When a college coach doesn't respond to you, try again. And when they don't respond again, try again. And try again. I did a college night with the USC head coach. His message was, it was a true story. He said, a girl emailed me 15 straight weeks in a row. 15 straight weeks in a row. Never once responded to her. 16th week comes around, she emails me again. Told the group, it was a college night like this, I was so embarrassed that I wrote her back right then. And I said, I am so sorry. This is not how we represent our program. This is not what we should be doing here. I apologize. You tell me the next time you're playing in Southern California, I will drive to the game and I will give you a decision by the end of the match. I apologize. This isn't what we do here. Okay? I don't know what happened with the player, but his message was if she didn't email me the 16th time, would have never seen her play. So you got to be respectfully relentless. You got to be a squeaky wheel who gets the grease. You have to be that way. And the final piece is, this is only technology. Nobody's doing it for you. Okay? If you don't put the work in, this technology literally means nothing. We've done everything we can to make it really, really simple for you. Okay? But I would have to say, from a coach's perspective on staff, looking in, if it's not, they can actually tell if this is important to you. Because if you're putting in the work, you'll be on the program. And I recommend living on this thing. If anybody has any questions, you want a personal tutorial on this, no problem. Our staff will take all the technical support, customer service. If you have a question on the system, don't ask your coaches. Come to us. They're just the middleman anyway. We'll make sure to help every single one of you guys out. I have cards on this table here. If you wanted to talk a little bit more about your personal recruiting process, we're more than happy to go over that. The tutorial of the system, how it should be linking together. We'll take all that on, no problem. We appreciate you guys having us out, and I think you can do some real damage with this if you use it. So, I know I talk a mile a minute, so are there any questions on the program right now? No, I literally did a perfect job. All right. Yeah.
How would you break it down in terms of using your system between someone who isn't quite in high school yet, who's got half or in their freshman year, and haven't played the season that starts in the spring?
Should be laying the groundwork. Number one, their profile should be filled out for the basic information, so that way the girls that are in high school that are being obviously more proactive than the 8th graders, that the team's profiles and things you're handing to college coaches looks nice. They should be tinkering around with it to find school. What are you interested in? Well, you're good at, like what Pete was saying, oh, you're good at math. Maybe we should look at some engineering schools. Have you ever heard of this one? No, I haven't. Maybe when we go on a tournament, oh my gosh, it's only 20 miles away from the fields, let's go on a visit. Let's take a look, let's look around. Things like that to really lay the groundwork. But are you really going to put the pedal to the metal and go gangbusters? No, you're not going to do that. Yes?
Michigan's changing from ACT to SAT next year? Does the system have both?
Whatever is published from College Board or from U.S. News, we take our information from sites like that, College Prowler. So some of the information you might, if it's not transferable yet, if they still have the, what you said, it's going from SAT to ACT?
The other way.
Okay, the opposite. Then you can also look at some breakdowns of what one equals on the other score if it's not updated in the system. So. Yes?
Is this sport specific only soccer? Do you guys do all sports?
Well, we do all, the system's set up to do all sports, but for this purpose, this is all soccer. All right, well, I don't want to dismiss you, so Pete, I guess I'll give the microphone back. Thank you guys for having me.
Greg, thank you very much. That was awesome. By a show of hands, does you think this has some value for you? Good. I hope so. When we first got a chance to meet Greg, and he was telling me a little bit about the tool, I was like, all right, how are you different from some of the other ones? And then when we finally got the chance to sit down through it, I thought, what a great opportunity for our membership to have a tool to just navigate through again that search process. So I hope you guys take advantage of it, because you all saw that there's value, but the only way that there's value, the way Greg was saying, is if we actually use it. So get on there, play around with it, check it out. If you have questions, shoot a call into the office. We can help you out as well. People love when I say that. But seriously, play with it, use it. Someone asked if this was just for soccer. And yes, this is just for our athletes that are at the Canton Soccer Club. But think about all of the aspects of this tool. There are athletes that decide, you know what, guess what? It's way more important for me, Ryan O'Meara, to go to Harvard than it is for me to actually play soccer at Harvard. So even though I've loved soccer my whole life, I'm going to continue to do it. He can use this to say, all right, maybe I don't get into Harvard, but are there other schools like Harvard that fit my GPA, that fit the other academic needs that I want? So there are a lot of ways you can use this tool, even if your son or daughter doesn't end up going on and playing soccer. Or if you have another son or daughter that you want to play with this tool with, that can help them kind of figure out the whole process. So all in all, when I saw it, I thought it was incredible. So once again, Greg, thank you so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed being at Kickers. Pete, where are you? Thank you very much for hosting us. And with that, I'll let you guys go. I know there's still pizza out. You're more than welcome to stay and mingle. If you have questions for me, come and find me. Danny's around. John O'Meara has the Kickers discount card.